Friends, enemies, and vampires. It's not often I get to tell you about awesome new open world base builders, but thanks to Stunlock Studios, this is such a day, and you'll see that this is so much more than a base builder. This is V Rising, where you assume the role of a newly awoken vampire lord set on reclaiming their power. How you choose to play is completely up to you, whether that be on a solo server free from others or on the official multiplayer servers, where you get to team up or wage war against other players. All of this is now possible on both PC and the newly released PS5 version, even with premium editions and a unique Legacy of Castlevania edition for the absolute vampire lovers out there. And Stunlock has clearly worked hard to create a game that shines on both platforms, and the game is better than ever now that the game is out of early access, in part thanks to the community who contributed valuable feedback. Now, I love my action RPGs, but even though I don't often play games about vampires, V Rising managed to draw me in immediately because of a few incredible fundamentals. Now, let me tell you about one thing that really made things exciting. First of all, V Rising is in my opinion best when played alongside other players, because there's an inherent thrill to knowing that other people exist in the same game world as you. You never know when you'll meet another vampire or how powerful their base has become. This makes it all the more intense when you go out looking for resources or trying to find your next blood victim, since you might just run into someone you didn't expect. But to add on to this, V Rising offers a mechanic that makes things even more intense, namely sun damage. You know how vampires tend to prefer the night? Well, V Rising also knows this. And if you find yourself out in the day, in direct sunlight, you're actually going to take severe damage over time. This may create uncertain situations where you've gone hunting or resource gathering and find yourself far away from home in the light of day. Sticking to the shadows will help you stay alive, but that doesn't factor in all the enemies lurking about, nor the other vampires who might be after you. You see, sun damage doesn't have to be as deadly as you think. By drinking enough blood, you may alleviate some of the damage the sun deals. This means that vampires who've managed to plan ahead might even be able to go hunting during the day, and will possess a great advantage over those who fail to do so. You'll always know what time of day it is too by checking the clock, which always gives you the up-to-date information on what time it is, and when you should consider staying in the shadows. Indeed, as a survival action RPG, you'd rightly assume that V Rising features a combat system that allows you to progress and become stronger over time, but you might not realize just how good this combat actually feels. V Rising is available on both PC and PS5, and with this console release, Stunlock Studios have also introduced controller support on both platforms, which provides an excellent option for those more loving of joysticks than a mouse. Not only does it feel great to hold down R2 to hack and slash, but the other abilities work intuitively too, like dodging, using one stick to move and the other to direct attacks. A combination of buttons allow you to make use of special attacks with a controller, while on PC, abilities can be used with the press of the assigned key. However, if you are using a DualSense controller, you'll get all that delicious haptic feedback and adaptive triggers too, and it's part of why I honestly prefer using a controller for V Rising. It just feels so intuitive and satisfying to swing your weapons and hit your targets. Whether you are in battle against your mortal enemies, chopping down some wood, or mining materials for your next weapon or armor. But this is not just owed to the feedback of course, but also due to V Rising's extensive ability selection. You see, as in any decent RPG, progression is the name of the game here. You begin with nothing after all, and it's up to you to fight, craft, build, and explore your way to the top. New weapons are your most surefire way to begin to deal more damage over time, and you craft and upgrade these through workbenches and by gathering various materials. As you do, and as you complete missions that become more complicated with each advance, you also personally level up and, among other things, increase your health. But the truly awesome stuff is probably the abilities themselves, one of my favorite things about this combat system. Abilities make all the difference here, from dodging, to shooting vampire blasts across the environment, to buffing your character for a time in order to make them faster and stronger, to so much more. V Rising's combat system is surprisingly deep and interesting, but at the same time, manages to stay fluid and intuitive. I think part of this is because of the way movement itself works. You know exactly how quickly your character moves, what they're capable of, and after a few minutes or hours of playing, you really get that feeling for when to move, when to parry the enemy, which spells to use, and when to just stay back. Of course, in the beginning, you begin with the very basics, but as you go, you also dive deeper into everything V Rising has to offer. Part of this is the system of hunting exceptionally powerful beings with special blood, the bosses of this game. Now, there is a map in V Rising that will show you the areas you've explored and the important locations you've come across, but it won't show you enemies of importance. This is where V Rising's unique blood trail feature comes in, because once you mark your next target, you begin to get these little blood-colored hints of where they're located. It's up to you to find them then, to track them down and brave the world on your journey there, and defeat the enemy once you've found them. Take care though, because these bosses offer much more challenging and different fights than your regular combatants. Whether we're talking a larger, more powerful wolf that hits harder and can call upon its very own wolf pack, or a minor overseer who knows his way around magic, to even more powerful adversaries, V-Rising offers challenges that become more and more intense as you go, with fitting rewards as well. For example, abilities are not just made for combat in this game, but also for traversal. In fact, defeating that wolf we talked about lends you that wolf's power, allowing you to shapeshift into a wolf. Now, while combat will shift you back, it is useful because it lets you move about the world quite a lot faster as a four-legged beast, which definitely comes in handy when moving across great distances. Seeing as V-Rising is, and here comes a mouthful, an open world survival base builder multiplayer game, a massive part of this game is actually devoted to building your very own vampire castle. And if you join a multiplayer server, you'll quickly find that others are doing the same, so you better start building too. Of course, building is a matter of finding the right materials, of being at the right level, and having completed the right missions. But once some of the few initial ones are done, you get to do things your own way. Chop down trees to make room for new tiling and walls, and upgrade every part of your new manor. Crafting tables, sawmills, blood presses, V-Rising offers a full course meal when it comes to base building, and you can come to build some truly insane stuff. And as someone who's more used to playing survival crafting games in first or third person, I have to say that there's something refreshing about playing one where the view and gameplay style is a lot more isometric. It works so well alongside the beautiful visuals of this game, which on the PS5 runs at a flawless 60 FPS for that smooth as can be experience. These stylized visuals, yet rich colors, textures, and foliage breathe so much life into the world we find ourselves in. And whether during the night or when the sun finally peeks through the clouds the next morning, it's a beautiful world out there, filled with ruins, cemeteries, forests, and mystical artifacts. Seeing as this is a multiplayer game to a large extent, whether co-op or PvP, the smoothness and fluidity is only made better by the fact that V-Rising offers official multiplayer servers, meaning that as long as you join a server which is relatively close to you, any lag or latency is negligible, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be on your guard. I met another vampire out in the wild once since we were both targeting the same boss. I thought I'd helped them out, saved them from the scourge. But after the boss was down, they suddenly started attacking me, and clueless as I was at the time, I could only really admit defeat. This taught me a valuable lesson, namely to never openly and naively trust another vampire. It is a good thing then that you can team up with friends too, even in PvP servers, and combine your strengths and smarts to build the best bases and combine forces against the others. There is so much to V-Rising, so much satisfying gameplay, intense combat sequences, rewarding crafting and base building, and so many great areas to explore. In other words, this is a great and addictive action RPG I highly recommend you try, especially because it only gets better as you play. So make sure to check it out either on PC or PS5. Let me know if you've played V-Rising and what you think of it, and make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, thank you so much to Stunlock for sponsoring this video, and I'll see you next time. Cheers!